I sat quietly at the edge of the wedding reception, my hands folded gently around my grandson, Noah's small fingers. The ballroom sparkled with chandeliers, candlelight flickering across white roses that lined each table. A jazz band's soft melodies floated through the air, creating an illusion of perfect serenity. Everything appeared flawless, almost unreal, but I knew that perfection could conceal danger. Noah's grip on my hand suddenly tightened. His eyes, wide and brimming with unease, met mine as he whispered, "Grandma, I want to leave now." My heart skipped a beat. This was no ordinary shyness. His fingers trembled against mine. I leaned closer. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" I asked. He swallowed hard. "Tell Grandma." His voice was barely audible. Then he asked, "You didn't check under the table, did you?" My chest constricted. Slowly, I bent down and lifted the edge of the white tablecloth. A small folded note rested in the shadows beneath the chairs. My hands shook as I unfolded it. My eyes scanned the scribbled words, and my blood ran cold. Table 8. Add shrimp to the child's serving. Noah was dangerously allergic. One bite could have killed him. I am Helen Parker, 68 years old, a widow, and a grandmother fiercely devoted to Noah. Life had handed me both heartbreak and joy, and tonight the memories of those losses weighed heavily. My son Daniel was remarrying after years of quiet struggle following the death of his first wife, Emily, a woman whose warmth once filled our home. Daniel looked proud and relieved, determined to present a new chapter of happiness with Vanessa Carter. The radiant bride across the room, Noah, my anchor in a turbulent world, sat beside me, clutching his red toy car like a lifeline. Since losing his mother, he had shared his fears and dreams only with me. His wariness of Vanessa had been subtle but persistent. He recoiled from her attempts at affection and hid behind my skirts when her charm felt too forced. Claire, my adopted daughter and Noah's other guardian, sat near us, her calm eyes silently protecting him. She had filled so many gaps Emily left behind, baking cookies, helping with schoolwork, and keeping him emotionally safe. Around us, the celebration continued. Waiters glided past in crisp uniforms, serving shrimp hors d'oeuvres that Noah dared not touch. Guests laughed, cameras flashed, and Vanessa posed like royalty. Yet beneath the glitter, attention gnawed quietly, unseen by most but unmistakable to me. Beauty concealed danger, and tonight, only a child's tremor could point toward the truth. Memories of earlier, simpler days flashed in my mind, the small house Daniel and Emily once shared. Noah toddling across the garden with laughter echoing from the porch. Emily had welcomed me warmly, cooking, hugging, treating me as family. But joy is fragile. One rainy afternoon, the world shifted forever. The call came. Emily had been killed in a car accident. My hands shook violently, my world shattered. Daniel buried himself in work, while Noah became quiet, searching for a mother who would never return. I stepped into the breach, tucking him into bed each night, whispering Emily's stories, preserving her memory. Claire became a lifeline, offering laughter and care in our grief-filled home. Over the years, we had held each other together. But the wounds of loss had left my son vulnerable, a vulnerability Vanessa later sought to fill. And now, in this glittering ballroom, with Noah clutching my hand and a folded note threatening his life, I felt the weight of everything, past and present, joy and danger, converging in a single moment. The soft clinking of glasses and polite laughter faded from my ears as my pulse raced. I held the folded note in trembling hands, its words a direct threat to Noah's life. Shrimp, add it to the child's meal. One bite and it could be fatal. I glanced at Noah, his small body stiff, eyes wide with fear, his grip on my hand unrelenting. My heart tightened. This was no accident. I rose from my seat, chair scraping across the polished floor, and lifted the note for everyone at table 8 to see. "Before this celebration continues, I need your attention," I said, my voice firm despite the quiver in my chest. The ballroom quieted. Guests turned. Curiosity and confusion mirrored on their faces. Daniel hurried over, his smile fading into worry. "Mom, what's wrong?" he asked. I pushed the note into his hands. He unfolded it, and his expression shifted from confusion to shock, then to horror. His hands shook as though holding something that could burn him. What does this mean?" he whispered. I did not answer immediately. Vanessa appeared beside him, her gown sparkling in the warm light. Her lips curved in a practiced smile, eyes wide with feigned innocence. "Is this some sort of joke?" she asked lightly. "No joke," I said, my voice icy. "My grandson is severely allergic to shrimp. This note instructs that it be added to his meal." The gasps were instantaneous. Guests whispered to each other, eyes flicking between the note and Vanessa. Some shook their heads in disbelief, others covered their mouths. A young waiter, Michael, stepped forward, pale and hesitant. I recognize the note," he stammered. "A woman gave it to me to deliver to the chef. But I dropped it on the way. I didn't know it was dangerous, I swear." "Which woman?" I demanded, my hands trembling, but my voice unwavering. Before he could answer, a soft sobbing broke through the tension. Sophie, Vanessa's younger sister, stepped forward, tears streaking her cheeks. "It wasn't me. It was Vanessa," she cried. "She gave me the note and told me to hand it to the waiter. I didn't know what it said." Vanessa's mask of composure cracked. "Sophie, stop this nonsense," she snapped, her voice sharp. But Sophie's sobs only grew louder, confirming the truth. Claire, holding Noah protectively, rose to her feet, her eyes blazing. "If you deny it, we can check the security cameras," she said coldly, every word measured and lethal in its precision. The room fell silent. Vanessa had no defense, her perfect image shattering like fragile glass. Daniel's face was pale, horror and disbelief warring across his features. "Vanessa, tell me it isn't true," he whispered, his voice breaking. But her silence was an answer, louder than words. I stepped closer to Noah, wrapping him in my arms. "Anyone who tries to harm my grandson," I said, my voice firm, cutting through the stunned murmurs, "will never be part of this family." The words rippled through the room. Gasps and murmurs of agreement spread as even distant relatives shook their heads in shock. Hotel security moved forward, their presence authoritative. Vanessa protested, her voice rising in desperation. "You're all making a mistake." But no one listened. With trembling steps, she was escorted out, her gown brushing the polished floor as the celebration she had meticulously crafted crumbled behind her. Daniel sank to his knees beside Noah, tears brimming in his eyes. "Son, forgive me," he whispered. "I thought I was giving us a new beginning." "I was blind." Noah nestled against him, silent but safe. Relief washed over me like a tidal wave. The threat had been real, and we had stopped it in time. That night, the glittering celebration had become a stark reminder. Appearances can be deceiving, danger can hide behind charm, and the bonds of family, love, vigilance, and trust are the only shield against true harm. The house was quiet that evening, but the tension hung heavy in the air. Vanessa's betrayal had left scars, invisible yet sharp, cutting through the fragile sense of security we had fought to restore. I sat at the kitchen table, the folded note still clutched in my hands. Across from me, Claire's eyes burned with a mix of anger and determination. "We can't let this end here," she said softly, yet every word carried weight. "She tried to hurt him, Helen. We need proof, and we need to make sure she can't touch Noah again." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Every memory of that night, the fear in Noah's eyes, the tremor in his tiny hands, flashed before me. I had protected him once, but I refused to leave his future to chance. "You're right," I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. "It's time we take control. She underestimated us. That ends now." Our first step was meticulous. We began documenting every interaction Vanessa had had with Noah, times she had ignored his needs, moments she had been impatient or sharp. Phone records, security camera footage from the school and our neighborhood, even subtle inconsistencies in her stories, all of it painted a damning picture. Claire and I spent long nights piecing everything together, a puzzle that slowly revealed the extent of her schemes. Then came the confrontation. We invited Daniel to the study, closing the door behind us, away from prying eyes. "Look at this," Claire said, sliding a folder across the polished oak desk. It contained photos, screenshots, and notes detailing every moment Vanessa had tried to manipulate, control, or endanger Noah. Daniel's hands shook as he flipped through them. Horror and disbelief mirrored in his eyes. I can't believe I missed all of this," he whispered, voice cracking. "I thought she loved him." I thought I was doing the right thing. His grief was palpable, but so was his guilt. I reached across and took his hand. "Love isn't blind, Daniel," I said. "It's cautious. It protects. You weren't blind, you were misled. And now we can protect him finally." Armed with evidence, we approached Vanessa's parents and her sister Sophie. Carefully, we presented everything, laying out the dangers she had orchestrated. Sophie's eyes welled with tears as she realized the depth of her sister's betrayal. Her voice trembled as she said, "I never knew it was this bad. I thought she was just controlling, not this." By the time Daniel confronted Vanessa herself, the illusion had crumbled entirely. She could no longer mask her actions behind charm or feigned innocence. The confrontation was quiet, icy, and final. Vanessa's lies unraveled under the weight of undeniable evidence, leaving her scrambling for excuses that held no truth. Security remained nearby, but this time the outcome was certain. Afterwards, the house felt different. The shadow of fear that had lingered over Noah and us began to lift. Daniel returned to being the father he had always wanted to be, attentive, protective, and present. Claire's presence remained constant, a warm anchor for Noah, whose laughter slowly returned to our halls. That night, as I tucked Noah into bed, he looked up at me with trusting eyes. "Grandma, is it over?" he asked softly. I kissed his forehead, heart swelling. "Yes, my love. You're safe now, and we're never letting anyone make you feel scared again." For the first time in months, the weight of dread began to lift. We had faced the danger head-on, exposed it for what it was, and reclaimed control, not just over our home, but over our family's future. The road to healing had begun. The days after Vanessa's exposure were quiet, but purposeful. Our home, once shadowed with tension and fear, began to breathe again. Noah's laughter returned slowly, like sunlight spilling over a frozen lake. Claire and I watched him rediscover joy in the simplest of things, racing his toy car across the floor, chasing bubbles in the backyard, or curling up with a bedtime story. Each giggle and each shy smile was a reminder that the darkness had been overcome. Daniel, too, was transformed. The guilt he had carried after realizing how close Noah had come to harm slowly gave way to determination. He became the father he had always wanted to be, not just present, but attentive, patient, and loving. No longer lost in work or grief, he finally saw the delicate threads that held our little family together and understood that true stability wasn't built on appearances, but on care and trust. Claire remained the constant pillar for Noah. Her nurturing presence was steady, her laughter contagious, her eyes always attentive to his moods. She baked cookies with him, helped him with homework, and spent long afternoons teaching him how to draw airplanes and kites. "I want Aunt Claire to be my mom," Noah said one evening shyly as he clutched her hand at the dinner table. Claire blushed, tears glimmering in her eyes, and Daniel's gaze softened with both relief and gratitude. For the first time in years, hope filled the spaces that grief had hollowed out. I, Helen, found my own sense of peace in the small victories of everyday life. The fear that had gripped my heart on that fateful wedding night no longer dictated my days. I reveled in quiet mornings, in Noah's laughter echoing through the halls, in Claire's gentle reassurances, and in Daniel's quiet but steady presence. We rebuilt routines that were safe, warm, and loving, a sanctuary where the shadows of the past could not reach. We also took measures to ensure Noah's safety permanently. Allergies, household rules, school protocols, all were double-checked and reinforced. The house became a fortress, but not one of fear. It was a fortress of love and vigilance, where Noah could grow freely, safely, and with confidence that he was cherished above all else. As weeks turned into months, the bonds between us strengthened. Daniel and Claire formed a quiet understanding, rooted in respect, gratitude, and shared love for Noah. Their partnership was unspoken but undeniable, built on trust rather than romantic expectation. And I, proud and vigilant grandmother, felt a profound sense of fulfillment in seeing our family heal, whole and strong. One evening we sat together on the porch as the sun dipped low. Painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Noah rested against Claire, clutching his toy car, while Daniel leaned back in his chair, letting the quiet calm wash over him. I watched them, heart full, and realized that the chaos and danger we had endured had forged something deeper, a family stronger, wiser and more united than ever before. In the end, we had survived betrayal, exposed the threat, and reclaimed our lives. The glittering facades of the past had crumbled, revealing the true beauty of family, trust, courage, and unconditional love. And as the stars emerged in the evening sky, I knew one thing for certain. Our hearts were finally free, our homes safe, and our lives ready to shine brighter than ever.